I'm doing great, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the April 17th Punta Gorda City Council meeting. Let the record reflect that all city council members and city officials are present. Let's stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, today we invoke your special blessings of this holy week for us, our community, and ask that you give us, individuals, the humility which realizes its ignorance, admits its mistakes, recognizes its needs, welcomes advice, and accepts your guidance. We also ask your continued blessing on our community as a whole, knowing special love we have for our city and its people. Deliver us, Lord, from every evil, and grant us peace in our day. All these things we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Before we begin our proclamations, I would like to suggest to the council members that there is an item number 7B on our agenda today, is a noise in Gilchrist Park presentation by Bernie DePaul. And out of respect for Mr. DePaul, I would request if you would consider moving this agenda item up to before the public hearing after the introduction of board and committee member nominees. Would that be acceptable?
Absolutely.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. So item 7B will move up after 1C.
And there will be citizen comments.
And there will
prior
be
to that.
citizens' comments prior, because
item.
that would be the normal process. Okay, so let's begin with our proclamations. And it's National Telecommunications Week, an important one. And Councilmember Wine will present the proclamation.
Thank you. It's my honor. I offer this proclamation of the City of Punta Gorda.
Morning.
Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and the preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality, accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Punta Gorda Police Communications Center, and whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas telecommunicators are the vital link for monitoring police officer, firefighter activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety, and whereas they contribute substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and the treatment of patients, and whereas telecommunicators exhibit compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job, and whereas whereas in fiscal year 2018, Punta Gorda's telecommunicators answered 28,975 administrative phone calls and 7,538 911 emergency phone calls, contributing to a police officer average response time of 5 minutes and 37 seconds for all calls. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Punta Gorda, Florida, does hereby proclaim the week of April 14th to April 20th, 2019 as National Telecommunications Week, and does hereby honor all men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and our citizens safe. Passed and duly adopted this regular season, the 17th day of April, 2019. Signed, City of Punta Gorda Mayor Nancy Prafke and Karen Smith, City Clerk, and accepting will be Audrey. Thank you very much. You bet.
The
Good morning. Chief Pam Davis with the Punta Gorda Police Department. First of all, let me thank the City Council for your continued support of our police department and our fire department, and for being able to recognize our dispatchers. They're essential to both of our departments, and they're essential to public safety. You probably have heard me say this many times, they are the most hardworking and dedicated group of people that I've ever seen. Very proud of them. The communications center is staffed 24/7. We have 9 dispatchers and 1 supervisor. Audrey's the supervisor in the middle there. So you can see half of our staff's here being able to be recognized, so we appreciate that. Their jobs are difficult, stressful, many times thankless, but they're the lifelines to our citizens, to our police officers, and to our fire personnel. So thank you guys for what you do. Their ability to multitask is absolutely incredible. So imagine we have 2 consoles. There's usually 2 working at one time. One's getting the 911 call, one's having the dispatch to the fire personnel, and then they've got an officer calling for help too. So I don't know how they do it. I couldn't do it, so it's great. And just to give you an idea of how much they do, Councilman Wine kind of touched on this, but they answered 28,975 administrative and non-emergency calls, 7,538 911 calls, and they dispatched or monitored, because sometimes the officers will call out with things, 44,697 police events, as well as 4,155 fire events, and had to keep track of all that while it was going on. So our telecommunicators are the heart and soul of our police department, and I think they're the unsung heroes of the entire city. So thank you for what you guys do.
Our next proclamation, I have the honor of reading, and this is for Arbor Day. Proclamation, City of Punta Gorda, Florida. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderate temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business areas, beautify our community, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal wherever planted. And whereas the city has celebrated Arbor Day and has been recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation as a Tree City USA for 24 years, has received the Tree City USA Growth Award for 12 years, and was awarded the prestigious Sterling Award by the National Arbor Day Foundation in February 2013. And whereas the city desires to continue to support efforts to care for our community forest and educate our citizens on its importance. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Punta Gorda, Florida does hereby proclaim April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day, and urges all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Passed and duly adopted in regular session on this 17th day of April 2019, City of Punta Gorda, Florida, signed Nancy Pravke, Mayor, and accepting is Joan LeBeau.
Good morning. For the record, Joan LeBeau, Urban Design Manager and ISA Certified Arborist. I want to thank the council for recognizing Arbor Day. This year we will be having a different type of celebration, but unfortunately I don't have all the details yet. We will be announcing it in our weekly reports, so stay tuned, and happy Arbor Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Our next proclamation is for Autism Awareness Month, and Vice Mayor Matthews will present this proclamation.
Thank you. It's my honor and privilege to present this proclamation for the city of Punta Gorda, Florida. Whereas autism, the fastest-growing developmental disability in the United States, affecting more than 3 million people, is an urgent public health crisis that demands a national response. And whereas autism is the result of a neurological disorder that affects the normal functioning of the human brain and can affect anyone regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background, and whereas symptoms and characteristics of autism may present themselves in a variety of combinations and can result in significant lifelong impairment of an individual's ability to learn, develop healthy interactive behaviors, and understand verbal as well as nonverbal communications, and whereas early diagnosis, research, and intervention are critical components to provide families with necessary skills to support individuals diagnosed with autism and related disabilities, and whereas April 2, 2019 was designated as the 11th Annual World Autism Awareness Day, now therefore the City Council of the City of Punta Gorda, Florida does hereby proclaim April 2019 as Autism Awareness Month to raise public awareness of autism in the hope that it will lead to a better understanding of the disorder and increased knowledge of the programs that have been developed to support individuals with autism and their families. Passed and duly adopted in regular session this 17th day of April 2019, City of Punta Gorda, Florida, Nancy Prafke, Mayor. And accepting is Maureen Morris. Would you like to have a few comments at the podium? Yes,
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for reading this. And yes, April is Autism Awareness Month. My husband and I live in Punta Gorda. We've raised our 3 sons here, and our middle son, they're all in their 20s now, has autism, and he is one of many, many people in this county, and many, many more people nationally and, of course, internationally. One in the United States now, CDC says 1 out of 59 children are diagnosed with autism, and 4 times as many in boys. So that comes to 1 out of 37 in boys, 1 out of 151 for girls. It's a lot of people. It is a lifelong developmental disability. It impacts, as you heard, social, communication, intellectual ability for most of the people. It also affects the family members because it's a very high maintenance situation to deal with. So if you are interested in learning more about autism, if you know a family that needs more information, or you need to reach out to someone you know, a friend or family member, to provide information, I would like to make some suggestions. Autism Speaks has a very good website with a lot of links. Autism Society of America has a very good website also. In Florida, we have CARD, C-A-R-D, Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. That's connected to the state university system. Also very good information. And in Charlotte County, our 211 number has a contact in Charlotte that you can call and speak to that person if you would like some, personal information and help. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you want to explore the topic. There's a lot of resources out there. Thank you.
Our next proclamation is the National Day of Prayer, presented by Councilmember Cummings.
Good morning, everybody. Whereas prayer is regarded by millions as the most important utterance of mankind for its benefit, and whereas prayer has aided us in times where support and guidance were needed, and whereas the National Day of Prayer is a time set aside for Americans to pray and reaffirm the spiritual principles upon which our nation was founded, and whereas this year's theme is Love One Another, and whereas May 2nd, 2019, people will unite in prayer, each according to their own faith and tradition, to show gratitude for our many blessings and freedoms, and to ask for continued wisdom, strength, and protection as we chart a course for the future. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Punta Gorda does hereby proclaim May 2nd, 2019 as National Day of Prayer and invites all citizens to observe this day in ways appropriate to its importance and significance. Passed and duly adopted in regular session the 17th day of April 2019. Nancy Prafke, Mayor. And this will be given to Pastor Bob Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings, and Punta Gorda City Council for so faithfully through the years, always proclaiming National Day of Prayer, and for your courage this year, because we're living in a day of this political correctness that would cause you to maybe fear going against it. And you proclaimed May 2nd, National Day of Prayer. It's actually the 68th annual Day of Prayer. And the theme this year, I think, is quite appropriate for our day: love one another. You know, in the Hebrew Scriptures, we're commanded to love God and love our neighbor. Jesus went on to say that actually is the greatest commandment of all. All the other commandments hang on those commandments. And Paul describes love in a way that maybe goes against what we have been taught by Hollywood. Love is actually volitional and unconditional, and he describes it this way in 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. In our time where there is so much animosity, it's irrational that's going on today. I hope that you will join with us on May 2nd out in front of the annex out here on the street. Join with us to pray that in America we will truly learn to love one another. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I hope that you all can join us next week, or in 2 weeks, at noon on May 2nd. So now we will give the presentations, and the first of these is the Punta Gorda Citizens Academy graduation from the winter session, and we have a lot of them here in attendance with us today. Hope, are you going to handle this?
Yes, I will.
Awesome.
And I'm Hope, Senior Executive Assistant at Public Works. Good morning, everyone. And here we go again. Citizens Academy graduation, as we'd like to say. And this actually has been my second largest group. And I was just sitting out there counting. Actually, I wasn't sitting, I was standing. There's no seats, so standing room only. In a short while, everybody will be able to come in and sit down because we'll all be leaving. I have 6 couples in this Citizens Academy this year. So I think that broke the record this time around. So that's very encouraging. This was a wonderful group. This was a very engaging group. Interesting, polite. They enjoyed every minute of it. And this participation, I have to say, was undoubtedly just about, I'm going to give them a 97%. Okay? They got a special treat because for the utilities session, we were not able to go to the wastewater treatment plant. It was under construction at the time. And when I say that, I mean the interior part of the plant. That's the main part that we get to visit, which is absolutely so interesting. So they were all so very disappointed when Tom told us that we were not able to get inside. And they asked me, well, what's your opinion? Do we get to go see it now, or do we come back next year and converge on your Citizens Academy next year? And I said, well, let's think about this. Tom, what do you say? He said, well, I'm willing to do an extra tour if everybody else wants to get on board. So that's what we did. We just had the tour about a week ago, I guess it was, and we did another 2 hours there, okay? We were inside, we were outside, and Tom did an absolutely wonderful job, and there we are. So we had an extra session this year in Citizens Academy, actually. So I want to tell everybody that you need to tell your friends, neighbors, and most of all, newcomers about the Citizens Academy. When we get done at each session, I hand out a survey so that each participant gets to tell what they thought about the Citizens session, whether it's Public Works, Fire, Police Academy, Administration. There are several questions on the survey, what they thought about it, if it was good, if it wasn't good, what they thought about the handouts or the power presentation that we do, an overall perspective of it. And a few tidbits I'd like to just share with you. You know, of course, some of them tell me that it was awesome. Some of them tell me, well, you know, the walking was too much during the outside tour, et cetera. Well, we can handle that. But most of all, what they said was that our city employees and everything do a heck of a job. And they can't talk more enough about everything that goes on from the top of the city government right down to the streets. So I just want everybody to know that's what you have here in the city of Punta Gorda and the city government. Just remember that and share that with everybody. Now, I'm gonna bring them all up here and try to get a group picture. Come on up.
There we go.
The big group. You got Meryl here.
Just so they don't interfere with us being in the picture.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're gonna cover you all up, trust me.
Yeah, put the really tall people right here, Hope. Did you take this, Citizens Academy?
No, I didn't. My wife did.
Okay.
So when,
Where's the camera? We need a big.
Right there. That's good, right
yeah,
there.
there you go. You got. I like you.
Good job, Steve.
You're all lost back there.
We're not important.
Yeah, well, Debbie. Yeah, we're not important.
We're
right
not
now anyway.
important. I had my picture in this 2 years ago.
Good. Want to stand up?
Probably overdrive.
Stand up and photobomb them.
What?
You can stand up and photobomb them if you want
Oh.
to.
We could stand up. They still wouldn't see us.
Not behind him.
You either.
What you need is a soapbox.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I wonder whoever thought of
Oh, I
that.
like that.
Okay, Debbie, let's put the horns up.
Yeah. I would love to with him because this is on the shore.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Good. I said.
See there? Oh. How are you doing?
On that ledge.
There's a distance between me and the thing.
I am, I'm gonna be right here. How about that? Yeah, we're getting there. Everybody ready?
I'm ready to go.
Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention, we had a special surprise when we went to fire.
You had a fire?
Can I say something?
Let me tell them first. We had Firehouse Chili,
Awesome.
Right.
Great.
and that's a surprise because after each session, we get refreshments, cookies, or
Hi.
during it,
Welcome.
cookies, chocolate at some of the sessions and
you
everything.
are.
The Firehouse Chili by Chief
I know, isn't
Briggs.
it great?
It was awesome, and you won't give the recipe out.
Go ahead.
Don't want him to.
So go through it again. Go through the class again so you can get some of that chili.
I don't have time.
Dwayne wants to say something real quick.
So I'm sure I speak for everyone in the Citizens Academy, how much we appreciate what Hope does.
Can you give us your name for the record?
Thank you.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Wayne Clark.
Thank you.
Like I said, I think I speak for everyone in the Citizens Academy in thanks of what a wonderful job Hope has done with this thing. It's truly, the pastor spoke about love. This is truly a labor of love for her. And always a smile, always courteous, you know, bending over backwards to help us understand what the city is like. So I'd just like to,
You're welcome, and it's,
Pet should always find alternative work as a shepherd.
and it's truly a way to see the inner workings of the city. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm surprised that they didn't stay, that we have an exciting agenda. Well, our next presentation, I'll wait.
They're unruly crowd.
They could have at least stayed for mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an alumni of that, right?
There you go.
Could you please close the door? Oh. There we go.
Nice try.
You got a few.
Okay.
Okay, are we set? It gives me great honor to present the next presentation. It is actually, Councilmember Carey attended the Institute for Elected Municipal Officials, and it's something that we all go to learn more about how to be an effective council member. And there are a series of these classes, and Councilmember Carey completed what we call EMO. We abbreviate that to EMO, EMO 1. And so, Debbie, congratulations on completing EMO 1.
Thanks.
And we're very proud of you, and here is your certificate of completion. Okay, we will move to item 7B. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. The next thing is item 1C, introduction of board and committee member nominees. If anyone is nominated for a board or a committee and you'd like to introduce yourself, please come to the podium. Seeing none, then we will move to item 7B. And that is going to 7B. Noise in Gilchrist Park, presentation by Bernie DePaul. Before we do, we will take citizens' comments. If you have any citizen would like to make a comment, please come to the podium. You have 3 minutes.
On that particular item
On
only.
that particular item only. Good morning.
Good morning. Kathy Getz, District 1. As a resident of the Historic District and a user of Gilchrist Park, I've seen the changes that have come to the area. It has become more of a sports park, while no way on level of a stadium or anything like that. It's a smaller scale, but it does have some of the similar results
I can't hear.
with noise and traffic.
It's difficult to hear,
I
Kathy.
can't hear
I'm
it at
sorry.
all.
Is there something wrong with the speaker? Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay. It is well documented that, I'll speak a little louder too. It's well documented that pickleball
We
noise
can hear you now.
has been an issue for neighborhoods across the country. The letter writer this week in the Sun pointed out that noise mitigation has been put in place for the Pickleplex as not to disrupt students at the collegiate high school. Please be compassionate when listening to Mr. DePaul in his story, as well as the pleas from other residents who live close to the court. This has changed their lives and not for the better. Please consider to take Gilchrist Park back to its previous leisure, quiet place after the well-designed, dedicated Pickleplex is completed. Thank you for listening, all of you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm here today to ask City Council to
Can
finally
you please
act-
state your name?
Oh, sorry, Peggy Keene.
Thank you.
I'm here today to ask council to finally act to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the historic district. Until now, I've let friends and family and neighbors living closest to the pickleball courts spend lots of their time and energy trying to get pickleball removed from Gilchrist Park. Until recently, I believed the quality and quantity of logical, factual information provided to the council over the last 4 years about the negative effects of daily pickleball play so close to the residential neighborhood would lead to right action. I had faith that the strength of the information coming from a variety of sources, including a national pickleball organization, was more than enough to offset the pickleball lobby's main reasons for remaining in the park that seemed to me to be primarily because the harbor location is a lovely place to play and they just want to be there. Almost as much city money has now been or will be spent to keep pickleball in the park as the amount of city money given to Pickleplex, supposedly for the solution of removing it. The proposed study in particular to assess noise level in court use is a total waste of tax dollars. I'm a nurse practitioner with a PhD in community health. I've spent more than 20 years designing, conducting, and evaluating research studies. When people know they're being observed and also when they want a particular result, both factors unconsciously or consciously affect behaviors. In addition, the study will be done at a time when many visitors and part-time residents are leaving, so won't capture the peak activity both of players and audiences that occurred during season. Also, just measuring acoustic levels is also a waste of money. Loudness isn't the main problem. It's that the particular sound from pickleball play is irregular and falls in the most sensitive range of human hearing. The detrimental effect, this makes for a very disruptive sound than any other kind. In addition, the detrimental effects of any type of noise on physical and mental health is also clearly linked to frequent or prolonged exposure. If City Council won't act to eliminate pickleball from the park,
Can you please complete your comments? Thank you.
yes, the only way left to accomplish this is through litigation. This would mean more money being spent to defend you against citizens who are only asking you to uphold your sworn duty to protect our health, safety, and welfare. Pickleball is only a game, but the stakes for the residents of the historic
I'm
district
sorry,
are much higher.
your time is up. Thank you. Please. We discourage applause or cheering for people and making comments because everyone does not have the same opinion. And we respect everyone's opinion, whatever that is. And it's intimidating to those who may not feel the same way that you do. So we really want to create an environment where people feel that they can speak freely. So thank you very much.
Hi,
Good morning.
My name's Dawn McGibbon. I'm a resident of the city of Punta Gorda. The first request for pickleball courts in Gilchrist Park was brought before council on February 6, 2013 by City Manager Howard Koenig, stating that the city would paint the stripes while all other expenses would be borne by the Pickleball Association. To date, pickleball is given $2,970. I requested all council meeting minutes where pickleball was discussed, and they were, starting as I said, February 6, 2013, April 16, 2014, September 17, 2014, January 21, 2015, where 11,700 of resource funds was appropriated, March 18, 2015, May 20th, 2015, February 17, 2016, where the first residential complaints were aired at a city council meeting. That date's important. That was February 17, 2016. March 2nd, 2016, August 31, 2016, October 19, 2016, November 2nd, 2016, November 16, 2016, December 21st, 2016, February 1, 2017, March 1, 2017, March 15, 2017, August 23rd, 2017, September 20th, 2017, December 6th, 2017, February 7, 2018, February 21, 2018, May 2nd, 2018, December 19th, 2018, December 23rd, 2018, January 2nd, 2019, January 16, 2019, February 6, 2019, February 20th, 2019, March 6, 2019, March 20th, 2019, April 3, 2019, and today, April 17, 2019. I also requested any minutes or notes from Howard Koenig's office from the city clerk. I was informed they had no records of that nature. I called Howard Koenig's office and was told he kept his own files on pickleball. I talked with Howard and requested any pickleball information generated from his office, specifically from his meetings with Mr. Byrne DePaul and his attorney Hal Wititsky, and then Mayor Rachel Kiesling. His answer was that those files would be in storage. I again requested them, 2013 to 2016. After that search, I was told that there were no such records or files. What I did get was Howard's calendar for the specific times I requested, August 2016 through 2 weeks after Labor Day 2016, read his meetings concerning or with Mr. DePaul, and this is what I received. His calendar, 8/30/16, pickleball noise, a meeting with Koenig and staff. 8/20/16, pickleball meeting, Rachel Kiesling and Hal Wititsky. 9/27/16, pickleball meeting, Rachel Kiesling, Howard Koenig, and no other parties listed. 10/18/16, pickleball with Rachel Kiesling, Howard Koenig, Donald Fox, Jay Shaver, Hal Wititsky. 10/25/16, pickleball, Rachel Kiesling and Howard Koenig, no other parties listed. 8/7/17, pickleball meeting, Nancy Prafke, Howard Koenig, and Hal Wititsky. There's no citing of Mr. DePaul's presence or even his name on these calendars, and he was the one that requested the meeting. Are we to believe that the city manager takes no notes and keeps no files?
Thank you. Your time is up.
Specifically about an issue that has been a very hot-button issue since at least February 17, 2016.
Please conclude your comments.
I will. I'm doing it right now. It would appear that there ain't no sunshine in Punta Gorda City Manager's office. It opens the lid on a Pandora's box. Is all business conducted in and from the city manager's office truly conducted and handled in this manner? And I'd love an answer to that question. Thank you.
Sheila Yeager, West Reading Esplanade. For me, today is about facts, not about opinion. Pickaplex, not yet open, has installed noise abatement fencing. The FSW classroom building adjacent to the courts is 100 feet or more away from the pickleball courts, and there are unshielded basketball and tennis courts a good deal closer. That means the Pickleplex board, representatives of the pickleball community, knows pickleball creates a nuisance noise and chose to fund a solution. That's a fact. Noise abatement fencing may work to protect classrooms at FSW, but it isn't suitable for a narrow, scenic waterfront park, which the city is showcasing with its expensive harbor walk, which is meant to be showcasing the scenery, showcasing the beauty of the park. The council rejected the option of acoustical fencing for years. That's another fact. I have seen the fencing, and it is obnoxious, and it will be a standout feature of the park and funnel noise onto Harbor Walk. Besides problems with the aesthetics, the fencing is vulnerable to winds that are especially strong in Gilchrist due to the fetch across the harbor. More facts, all known to the pickleball community. I'll quote Pickleball Central blog from November 2013. Quote, "One challenge with acoustical fencing is maintaining it in windy areas. In some communities, the acoustical fencing was blown down by the wind. Another challenge with acoustical fencing is that it's expensive and can be unattractive." Unquote. Historically, in its Regulation 16, the city acknowledges an obligation to protect all park users, which includes walkers and cyclists on Harbor Walk, from nuisance noise. All park users, not just homeowners, a fact. In January, council voted on acoustical fencing as a temporary solution and voted on the committee as a resource to find alternative locations for pickleball. The committee was not formed to find ways to keep pickleball in Gilchrist. You know this. Less than 2% of the city's residents play pickleball in the park, and they want to continue despite their negative impact on others. More facts. For years, we've asked, pleaded even, for relief. Even as a temporary solution, do you really want to add a visual blight to the nuisance noise in Gilchrist Park? As long as pickleball is in the park, acoustical fencing or no acoustical fencing, it will be a problem for the city, for the neighborhood, and for other park users. It will take courage, common sense, and compassion, but we ask you not to spend more months and years kicking this down the road, accumulating expenses, while people live in preventable distress, day by day, hour by hour, to preventable distress. Final fact, the players will have pickleplex and they'll love playing there. They will, and FSW won't mind.
Thank you.
Rick Sarkeesian, 910 Connected Drive, Punta Gorda. Wow. I came to, because I wanted to hear what Mr. DePaul was going to say. I didn't know we were going to have another pickleball debate. I just want to state three obvious facts. First of all, Pickleplex is free to the public, but it is not always open to the public. There are tournaments, there are clinics, there are leagues. It's not open play like at Gilchrist. Secondly, any discussion of the sound situation of Gilchrist is really moot because it's going to drastically change when the sound abatement that you approved goes up. That's going to change the situation. So all discussion, it's really in the past. And finally, just to remind everybody, you appointed a committee to do the fact-finding. I think we all need to wait and see what the fact-finding committee comes up with before we have any further discussion on this.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Betsy Blousing. I live at 821 Kings Court in the Historic District. I'm here to show support and empathy to all our neighbors. Historically, every October for decades, the neighborhood around Gilchrist Park has welcomed families from all over to the best Halloween in 3 counties. Many of us, in fact, spend hours decorating, then more hours giving out candy, all to create an enjoyable evening for children in the thousands. More recently, we supported the campaign to help the city rebuild the playground, and we worked hard to make sure it was the safest, the most fun, the best it can be. Some of us were leaders in this effort. Never once that I ever heard has any of my neighbors complained about the basketball, the tennis, the kids playing, Guitar Army, the walkers, or the cyclists. We moved to this neighborhood because we like an active lifestyle and enjoy watching other people enjoy Gilchrist Park. That makes it particularly harmful and untrue when we are accused of working to keep people out of Gilchrist Park and of wanting to make it a private, as someone did in a letter to the editor last Sunday. And then there are the people who said that we didn't like a busy park, that we shouldn't move across from one. All of these statements from our fellow citizens are unfair, causing more pain to our community and dividing our community. About 6 years ago, pickleball first appeared in Gilchrist Park. For years, 4 years ago, pickleball players lobbied for and got dedicated courts. From what we can determine, there was very little community input from the immediate neighborhood. We trusted our city council to do their due diligence and make sure pickleball was suitable and would not have a negative impact on the homeowners of the park. The acoustical fence won't protect our park users. And most definitely, we don't think that the fence will make anyone feel more welcome. And to add insult to injury, not only will the noise debates continue, we will soon also be talking about the acoustical fence as it is a big green eyesore in the center of Gilchrist Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jackie Mays, Historic District. I do not play pickleball. I am very active in the community. There is less people picnicking, watching the sunset all around that whole pickleball area. So it seems a common sense question is to ask every single person, do you want it across from your house? That's it.
Thank you.
Morning. My name is Marty Blaustein. I live in the Historic District. I'm asking the council to do the right thing and eliminate the unrelenting, stressful noise that affects people's health and will continue to do so. Give back early morning peace and tranquility and sunsets to all the residents of Punta Gorda and Charlotte County who come to the park. Give back the joy of working outside, sitting on the porch, or having your windows open on cool days to those of us in the historic district. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments?
My name is Christy Federici, and I'll try and get through this very fast to make my 3 minutes. I would first like to address the article in the Sun newspaper where Vice Mayor Lynn Matthews states, "I haven't seen any statistics that prove that the noise is to the level that it is being alleged to be at." Alleged is the key word. We have submitted doctors' reports and DVDs with the noise level on it. These are not alleged noise. They are real and obnoxious. We cannot enjoy our porch, inside our home, or our backyard. According to the city's code, it should be unlawful for any person to make, cause to be made, or permit to be made in the city noise or sound that are offensive beyond the premise of such person upon which noise or sounds are made. Such noise or sounds are hereby declared to be a nuisance, and their abatement is hereby ordered and directed. In Park Regulations, Section 16-1, paragraph, it states preventing acts of vandalism, disturbances of the use and enjoyment of the city parks by others, and disturbances of the peaceful and quiet use and enjoyment of nearby residents' uses by their occupants. Sound that is unwanted or disrupts one's quality of life is called noise. When there is a lot of noise, it is termed as noise pollution. Sound becomes undesirable when it disturbs the normal activities such as work, sleeping, and normal conversation. The World Health Organization stated that noise must be recognized as a threat to human well-being. According to the U.S. EPA, there are direct links between noise and health. Noise pollution can adversely affect the lives of people. Studies have shown that noise can damage physiological and psychological health. High blood pressure, stress-related illnesses, sleep disruptions, and lost productivity, severe depression, and panic attacks are all related to noise pollution. My mother, who is 93 years old, does not deserve this stress. High blood pressure and heart issues are no joke at her age. It would be nice if she could enjoy her little cottage without the obnoxious pickleball noise and stress. I myself struggle with an anxiety disorder, panic attacks, and insomnia, which are all documented in medical reports you were given. As homeowners, we have the right to quiet enjoyment of our home. People do not have the right to interfere with the use and enjoyment of our home. This obnoxious noise has violated our rights to quiet enjoyment. We understand that there has been testing and videotaping of this nuisance, but understand we are not stupid and know the testing and taping were done at selective times and does not give an accurate account. I live here 24/7 and know the real account. We have been in contact with legal counsel who has informed us that there exists a legal option to request an injunction to make the persons doing the interfering of our quiet enjoyment of our home to stop their actions or conduct. We are shocked and saddened
Thank
that
you.
I just have one last sentence.
Okay, please finish.
We are shocked and saddened that we work so hard for our home, and certain groups of people put a game before someone's health and homestead, especially when there are other places to play. We are embarrassed by the lack of common sense, empathy, compassion by the pickleball players. Thankfully, their attitudes do not reflect the majority of good people that live in Punta Gorda. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Please come up. We'd like to proceed with the council meeting.
My name is Lynn Stockinger. I live at 1336 Seahorse Court. I too was of the thought that we had formed a committee to handle all of this and to discuss noise. But I would like to point out one thing about noise. Noise is subjective. I have been a nurse for 35 years. I have worked in ICU units and ERs where we have monitors all day. Families will be in there with their family members and they're like, oh my God, can't you shut that off? I can't stand it. I listen to that 12 hours a day, doing 2 jobs, but it's part of life. Noise affects us all differently. I have the raceway that projects noise to my house, the airport. That, yeah, do I find it a little troublesome? But I try to just blot it out and say, you know what, it'll go away after a while. What are we gonna do? Do we stop airports? Do we stop the raceway? At what point do we draw a line and say, pickleball doesn't always go on 12 hours a day? In fact, most of the time when I've been out there, which I don't go out a lot because of work, it will be going on for maybe 4 hours. And then once it gets really hot, nobody's playing. It shuts down for the rest of the day. Maybe there'll be people that work that come out for a couple hours in the evening. I don't play at night because I don't see that well, so that eliminates that. But I don't think, without putting up some kind of noise barrier just to protect these citizens, I agree with that. They should have protection from the noise. However, I don't think we're talking about the extent of 12 hours a day, every single day, because we know it's not even open 12 hours. And they talk about 24/7. The park's open from 8 a.m. to, what did they do it, to 8 p.m. now, and then they have closed it down at times, and it's gonna be closed again. Can we not try to find something that suits both parties? Some type of protection? I mean, I don't think that it's unreasonable. I mean, we don't stop all the other noise on the planet because it bothers some. And like some say, the noise at the music, that's troublesome. The farmer's market trying to drive, that's troublesome. Halloween for some might down here be fun, but when you're trying to go to work or you get called out for a situation where you have to make it to a hospital, try to make it through there, you know, for Halloween. That's no fun either, but we deal with it, because that's life. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no more comments. Mr. DePaul, would you like to make your presentation?
We were told we could have a microphone on here.
Sure. Get this chair behind me first. Need to get it right behind me. It needs to be locked. Can you push that up? Lock, okay. Good morning. I genuinely appreciate it if you listen to what I say while making eye contact. It's not easy for me to be here. The only reason I have notes are so that I stay on track. 22 years in Punta Gorda, I've never registered a complaint with the city. I've never sent an email to a council member or any other officer, let alone one that's threatening. I've done everything I can to enhance the community. I looked up, if you're giving for the right reason, you don't keep track of it. In the last 20 years, I've given well over $100,000 to nonprofit organizations in Punta Gorda. And I built a home that enhanced it, and I didn't just do it for myself because the city's not aware of what kind of home it is. It uses less energy, less water than a home 1/3 the size. You don't just do that for yourself because it costs another 20% more to do it that way. Everything I've done was not just thinking about me. And in 2015, my physician, now it's one of them, told me that I need to get away from the noise because it's causing physical health problems. I didn't really need him to tell me that, but the point is, this is from a physician. The same physician who gave you a letter citing articles that is true, that this is, well, I'm not even close to who I ever was before. And the evidence is incontrovertible and overwhelming. And you're welcome to look at me anytime you want to or talk about it, because so far nothing's been done. In 2015, that's 4 years ago, I was told to leave my home I built a big, beautiful home, I have to leave it. I did it, because I didn't want to have more problems. And I stayed at the condo on Minnesota Key beginning in January of 2016. And I was there 90% of the time. And I got in really good shape and felt good. And then I came back on September 26th after helping a couple of physician friends in Winter Haven. I mean, I felt great. I was working out, I was up on the roof, and my health is good other than this stuff. I mean, that's why it's so easy to figure out what caused it. Nothing wrong with my mind, my heart, my lungs, my liver, my blood work is excellent. There's nothing, I mean, I was otherwise in good shape. And so I came back on Wednesday the 26th. I'm working under my home. And, you know, the noise across the street is relatively constant. The only time it's not there is when they choose for it not to be there. And that's when the weather is horrible. It's too hot or it's raining and nobody wants to be outside. So let's call it what it is. And I did everything I could to not focus on it. But, you know, it drives you crazy. So, again, I felt great. I was working great. And then 7 o'clock the next morning, I have a stroke. Now, I didn't need an MD to tell me that this was bothering me. It's been bothering me for 4 years. And when I went into the emergency room, the physician said, "There's nothing wrong with you. We can't figure it out." And he said, "Has there been any undue stress lately?" I said, "Yeah, pickleball." And, you know, you don't, under duress, you know, this isn't something that you're planning out. So, you know, that's in the notes also, or chart. Again, for the last 19 months, I've had every test that you can run that's pertinent to my situation, again and again. I have seven physicians, all of them neurosurgeons, neurologists, and cardiologists that are waiting and ready to be deposed. I don't have any more time for this nonsense. And I don't enjoy being here. I've never sued anybody. I've never complained. There's no more time, no more meetings, no more nothing, as far as I'm concerned. So I then had, that's a brief synopsis of my health, and I'm doing my best to keep it very brief. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So then, the first time I was able, in the summer of 2016, I requested meetings. Hal Wititsky, attorney, represented me, then called the then mayor and city manager. And so in August, I can pull up the date, mid-August, like 15, 16 in there, I had a meeting. But the only problem is I couldn't have the meeting unless 2 pickleball representatives were there. Now, no one called me when they were having meetings. No one ever said to me, "Hey, Mr. DePaul, you live right across the street. You need to be involved." Everything's just shoved through. And right now, did you ever hear about the meetings that took place in the summer of 2016, Councilwoman Carey? Are you familiar with them?
Which meeting?
That's my point.
Excuse me, but it's inappropriate to address individual council members in your presentation. Thank you.
All right, well, how do you want me to do it? Does anybody on the city council know about the meetings that took place in the summer of 2016?
It's not to be asking questions. You're making a presentation. This is not a question and answer session. You're making a presentation.
Okay, well then it's a rhetorical question, because the answer is they don't know how that happened. I have to have pickleball people there that I didn't want, and here it gets better. Both of them aren't even residents of Punta Gorda. The meetings were a travesty. Nothing came out of it. They were held in the conference room of the city manager. There were 2 meetings. I even had to postpone one because one of the pickleball representatives wasn't convenient from And I'm living at a condo in Minnesota Key, and I have to drive over here. And I'm the one that's paying $250 an hour, and I'm the one that requests the meeting. And again, nobody told me about the meetings they were having, and no one knows about them. And this is all documented. This isn't